Welcome back to Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, Anime Review Episode 19. This one discussing the 24th episode series, Kanna's Summer Vacation, Bilingual Broadcasting. Now, before we discuss this episode, I have discussed something briefly of what happened on Twitter. Yeah, it was discovered just yesterday. Apparently, get this, like the last episode I viewed for this series got over 1,000 likes on Twitter. I had never had that happen before, and this video, last week's video, is blowing up on Twitter right now. I'm not really sure exactly. Like, I've never had this happen before in the almost 8 years I've been doing this. Basically, 8 years next month that I've been doing this. I've had a video basically be liked by so many people on Twitter. Like, when I last saw it, it was like over 2,000. I'm like, damn, that's a lot of people. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Alright, talking about this episode, which is from chapter 62, though there's a lot of original material here. Episode starts off where, at this little bit at the beginning here, where Kanna basically looked like she had like an off-screen argument with Kobayashi, and she just flew off someplace. Where did she fly to? New York City. Oh boy. Now, what was the last anime I watched that featured New York City? Let me think here. I think like the last official one I could think of that did this. Well, that's on present day. Yes, Shaman King did the review for Shaman King 2021. That one did feature New York City, but in flashback. But in present day, not really. Yeah. Last one I could think of was maybe Case Closed. That's the last one I could think of. So, where's Kanna land? Statue of Liberty, and then she just walks about for a bit. Ended up in Times Square, even though she probably would have to take a boat from from Liberty Island to the main island of Manhattan, and then of course she ends up in Times Square, and she wants to buy a hot dog, and she sees the sign. She really can't read it properly. There's a bit of change of dialogue here, where she thinks $5.95 is like that's for yen, but no, you have to use U.S. currency because it's the United States, not Japan. And then she pretty much then she just changed the language from Japanese to English. And then just wanders around for a bit, still hungry. And then and then we see this blonde haired little girl who's actually her name is Chloe, being chased by some gangsters, some modern day gangsters who don't wear suits. These guys wear like regular street clothes. And kind of takes them just by poking them with her finger. And of course they play, and of course they want to go play, and of course where they go play? Central Park. And the first place you see is Trump Hotel, the Trump Plaza Hotel. Yeah, it's like this whole sequence was basically like somebody must be a big fan of Home Alone, that or the fact they must have basically either that, they visit New York City, or they see a lot of really good pictures because that's a really accurate representation of New York City. Because a lot of scenes in Central Park, which it seems like they just basically pulled from that movie, give a carrot to a horse, and they come back Times Square, everything's so humpy dory. Like think that after driving her for a while, she wants to go home, and then of course this actually is a change here because they change this for like no reason. You see in the manga, now in the anime, they have it where the gangsters come up and they're wearing masks, as in the masks they wear in real life. I'm like, why the heck would they put this here for? Yeah, this change makes no freaking sense at all. Like, we don't need to be reminded of real life stuff. Okay? I have no idea why the heck that, in order to disguise the fact that these are in fact the same people who kidnapped Chloe, we had to put them in the mask we read in real life. I mean, come on. This is bullcrap. Gangsters in New York probably don't wear this when they're out in public like this. Like, if they want to wear a mask, put on a freaking ski mask. These people not see American movies? We have people getting kidnapped in the U.S. in fiction. These guys wear ski masks. Not the surgical mask we have to wear in real life. That is bullcrap, the fact you had to put that in there. But anyways, next time, somewhat hilarious but really good sequence where Kanna gets angry with the fact that they kidnapped her friend Chloe, so she basically transforms into a dragon form, and then she pretty much just like goes off, and then we have apparently like the electricity go like, and of course they think it'll break her arm. And of course the guy opens the door, and it's Kanna. I thought this was so hilarious. Everyone's like, ah, what is a monster? And all the gangsters are taken out so easily. And of course Kanna basically just easily flies Chloe back home. Apparently she ran away from Minnesota. Yes, Minnesota. Like, go around the big lake and you'll get there. I'm like, it's actually a lot more stuff to do to get to Minnesota. There's a lot more distance, like, between Minnesota and New York City. That's, like, a long trip, even by driving standards. Flying would probably take a few minutes, but wow. And, of course, says, I'll tell you my address. Like, okay. She flies back home, and then, of course, she, runs the tour. She apologizes to her for abruptly running away. And, of course, she basically apologized to Kobayashi when she wakes up. And then we had this little brief thing for the next sequence where this is actually not from the manga, or it's revealed that, oh yeah, Toru was watching her the whole time when she was in New York City. I'm like, okay. And then, of course, the next segment, it's also featuring Kanna. This Kanna Kobayashi, like, because the fact her friend Chloe's about to come over, so let's try to basically, like, get some drinks there. So, because apparently she's going to do reports, but her thing gets wet, so, or basically her planner gets wet, so they decide to just walk around town trying to think for something to do. So Kanna decides, check out all the sewer grates. All the manholes throughout the entire city. Well, probably in the area anyways. Of course, we got Mr. Quiet, and of course, there's the ants. Really fun segment here, because they briefly have to take shelter from the rain. They come home, and of course, they have Lulu and yelling at Kanna, basically being late. And that's it. I gotta say, this was a pretty good episode. Well, next week, it's the return of the Emperor of Chaos, Toru's father. Which, that should be interesting. Yes, he did come back later on. It wasn't just one standalone appearance that he made the chapter from last season. Yeah, he does come back here. I'm hoping this is not going to be the finale for the season, the next week's episode. I hope not. Because it's kind of weird, though, because last season had 13 episodes. This season had, so far, this is the 10th episode. I'm really hoping it's not going to be 12. So, yeah, not much to say about it, just a really good episode. Okay, so that's episode review. Next one is going to be Drugstore Another World. Okay, next video. Bye.